I would say this council is not afraid to push boundaries on challenging status quo, right? Sometimes it may come across as disruptive, right, or erratic, but we are questioning the assumptions on which some of our programs and services were built. For example, we are more forceful in demanding equity in services and programs. That has not been done enough in the past. So that requires more rigorous debate. That requires more challenging to challenging our administration, or maybe creating some discomfort in community, because when you're talking about challenging inequities, you also need to challenge privilege, right? You also need to challenge disproportionate amount of resources that go on toward programs, but not everybody benefits from them, right? So I think that is one reason. The other is this council is deeply committed to reconciliation. So the status quo of doing things is not acceptable, particularly when it comes to engagement with indigenous communities, racialized communities, and those who are struggling. We need to include their voices, and when we want those voices included, sometimes the current structures don't allow those voices to be included. Institutions like policing have not faced the kind of scrutiny in the past that Edmontonians are demanding and expecting. And that scrutiny on budget, that scrutiny on conduct, right? And that scrutiny on accountability to the community, right? The struggle has been that Edmontonians' expectations are not aligned with the tools that are available to council and mayor. We have no control how police budget is allocated other than approving the overall how much money we give to council. That's the role of the commission. I'm very clear that mayor and council individually should not have the ability to direct how policing resources are allocated. But as a collective, through a democratic, transparent decision-making voting process, we should have some ability to have accountability how the resources are being used and how the resources are achieving the results on behalf of Edmontonians. I think that's a balance. It's a tough balance. It's a delicate balance as well. So that's where I think I would like to explore more options on how we can empower police commission to take on that bigger and greater role of accountability and really showing that we're getting the value for money. And I hear this from frontline police officers as well. I value the work. I deeply, deeply value the work that frontline, boots on the ground police officers do. We expect too much from them, and they should not be the one, attending some low-level social disorder calls or mental health calls or other intervention that can be better done by social workers and others. And they don't want to do that either, right? They would rather focus on their core responsibilities. But because we have underfunded and underinvested in prevention and social interventions and tackling the root causes of all the challenges that give rise to disorder and crime, and that underinvestment not only by the city but also by the province and the federal government, the ripple effect of that is there's more pressure on policing and policing resources, and so we will try to we're trying to figure that out. It's very complex. It's not easy, right? But it's but I think if council members are challenging on those aspects and asking questions all of those steps, I think we have every right to ask those questions, and we should be exploring options.